Folks, thanks for joining. My name's Whaley. I'm one of the co-founders here at Teal. I'm joined as usual by my partner in crime, Reid Johnston. He is another co-founder of Teal. If this is your first time joining us, and since it's the beginning of the new year, what we try to do is a very short, precise webinar once a month called Microsoft Tips and Tricks. It's the latest tips and tricks that have rolled out from Microsoft, or that we're using, or that someone in our organization is using, and share them with our clients and colleagues. So thanks for joining us. We do try to keep it very brief, 20 minutes. They're all recording, and you'll get the recording, and feel free to share them.
Yeah.
That said, let's get kicked off today. Reid, if you can share your screen, that'd be great.
Yes, I
We
will
want to
share my
start with
screen.
something that's of somewhat importance, is pricing changes to Microsoft 365.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. So, in July, Microsoft is raising prices a little bit. Not a lot, a couple bucks. There you can see here the different license plans. Business Basic is going up a little bit. Business Standard, Business Premium staying the same. The enterprise licenses are E3 is going up a little bit. So why are they doing this? I'll scroll up a little bit. They're adding some features. So basic, standard, and premium are getting another 50 gigs of email storage, which is great. People have a lot of email. Microsoft is also adding some Copilot chat capabilities and some security capabilities to the small business licenses here, and then enterprise and so on. So
And so
pretty
that's a
cool.
little bit difficult to read. So when Caden sends us out in an email, folks, we'll put a link in there.
Yeah, zoom it
Reid,
up.
just real quick before we get into some demos of tips and tricks,
Yeah.
what is the version that we recommend to our clients, and why do we recommend that version? And folks, by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll try to answer them real time.
Yeah. We typically recommend Microsoft 365 Business Premium because it combines the desktop applications that many people use and security components. That's the big thing. Business Standard and Business Basic don't have that advanced security that you need in a modern cloud-based, cloud-first organization. So we recommend Business Premium. And if you have computers that are connected to your Microsoft 365 environment, you absolutely need Business Premium to enforce policies and controls on those computers. So,
We
yeah,
could spend a lot of time drilling into that, but just one more question on it,
yeah,
which is, many of our clients, they have what we'd say is a fully supported user. It's a W-2 employee with a company-owned laptop.
yep,
Clearly, as you just said, we recommend Business Premium for them. But many of them have a different classification of user, where they may only have a Microsoft 365 account because they're a 1099, or they're on a client site with GFE, government furnished equipment, but they only have a Microsoft account. We still want the same level of protection, but they don't have a physical asset that we need to protect for them. So what licensing would be right for them?
yeah. So for those users, typically we would recommend Frontline. The Frontline licensing includes the same security components of Business Premium, but it doesn't include the desktop applications. So it doesn't include the desktop Outlook or Excel or PowerPoint or so on. They're using the browser for those applications. So typically Frontline, there's different versions of Frontline depending on what you need. Um, but that's the route we would go. We would stay away from Business Basic, because that's the very entry level with no security. So
Fantastic. All right, let's jump into some neat features. I don't know
yeah,
if any of these are new. Point out if they're new, but stuff that people in our organization or our clients use frequently, and we think they're pretty neat or cool.
yeah,
First is calendar search in M365 Copilot calendar search.
yeah, yep.
Tongue twister.
So what we're looking at here is the Microsoft 365 Copilot online experience. So you remember I always used to use office.com. I'd go to office.com to get me into the Microsoft Cloud environment. And Microsoft has done a nice job of relabeling all of their URLs. So now it's m365.cloud.microsoft. They've really added a lot of capability to this search function. So you're not only able to search for files, but you can search for documents. You can search Teams meetings. You can also now search your calendar. So I could say, when is my next meeting with Gar? And this is going to use Copilot chat, which is available for all users. Microsoft is expanding that Copilot chat capability. And oh, look at that. No upcoming meetings. AI isn't always right. I just ran this. So, well, let's try again. Let's
Well,
do
how do
it
you
again.
know it's hallucinating?
Well, because I know I've got a meeting coming up with you. We have a meeting on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's try when was my last meeting with Gar? Maybe we'll get a better answer. There we go. Let's see. This is what happens when we're live. There we go. Last meetings. So we had a proposal meeting, we have an owners meeting. These were earlier in the week. So you can use natural language searching your uh, for your calendar, which is pretty cool. So that's what I wanted to show.
All right. That's
Yeah.
cool. Ever since we talked about that yesterday, I use it all the time now, especially with Brittany,
Yep.
because I want to see I've used it. When was the last meeting with X that we discussed Y?
Yeah.
And that's pretty helpful. That's
Yep.
a good business need. So, want to talk a little bit about scheduling a meeting poll. I think next.
Yeah. This is actually really cool. It used to be kind of convoluted with the Microsoft Find Time uh, plugin that was available in Outlook earlier, but now it's pretty easy. So I'm in Outlook on the web. I have created a new event, and I'm going to say meeting about sales. And now I can invite some attendees. So I'm going to invite you, Gar. But I'm also going to invite um, my Gmail account because I can invite people outside of the organization as well. And there's a little button over here that says scheduling poll. So now what's going to happen is it's going to look at my calendar and it's going to suggest some times that both Gar and I are available because we're in the same organization. Outlook can see when Gar is available. It doesn't know when my Gmail account is available because that's outside of our organization. But the neat part about this is I can pick multiple dates and times of when I want to send a poll out to Gar and Reid's Gmail. So I'm going to do that. I've got January 12th, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 11:30, and then today at 10 a.m. I can send this. And what's going to happen now, I'm going to switch to my calendar next week. You can see it's holding those times on my calendar because I've put out multiple possibilities. And Gar, you should have an email in your inbox that asks you to participate in the poll. And I'm going to pull up the one, I should be getting one in my Gmail here as well. I'll show that.
I do have the one in my in my
Yeah.
email.
So here's my Gmail. Remember, this is the outside participant. Got an email that says, hey, you've been invited to this meeting about sales. We want you to vote. So I can vote, and it's going to say, well, who are you? Which attendee are you? Which attendee is voting? Well, this is my Gmail, and it's going to send me a verification code. So I got to wait a second for that. But it should come in pretty quickly. Take a look here, and I'll show you what that looks
To
like.
be clear, this is someone outside of our organization, and why you're waiting for that. So months or years ago, a lot of folks in groups that I participated in used to use Doodle for this, right? It's a
Yeah,
free.
Doodle. Yeah.
It's free. and a lot of people use it, and you can pay for it. And then if you're fortunate enough to have a Calendarly solution, it does a nice job of this too. And weeks ago, I was using Calendarly for meeting polls, specifically with non-Teal employees outside of our organization. And now this is built right into Office 365 and automatically holds your account. So it's like bread and butter, man. It's a real
Yeah,
game
this
changer.
is cool. I mean, this is helpful if you're sending out an invite to a bunch of people, both internally and externally, and you want to try to find a meeting because it's hard to find a meeting with a bunch of people. So here I've received that code, and now I'm the external user. I'm picking my times. I'm voting. My vote is submitted. So now if I go back, now I'm Reid inside of Teal, and if I open up one of these held meetings, I can see my oops, let me go back in here. This is what we get when we do it live. I'm gonna go calendar next week, meeting about sales. Okay, so now I can start seeing the voting results. So I
Did,
can see
did you want me
that,
to vote or?
no, that's okay. You can wait. Um, but I can start seeing when Gar and Reid outside are voting. And then I can see, okay, Outlook is recommending this first one because it's the first available time. And I could pick it, do that, and end the poll. And now what's going to happen is it's going to convert that poll into a meeting invitation. And it's going to send it to Gar and Reid outside of the organization with the time that I picked. And I can add additional detail to the meeting invite, just like you normally would. And I'll hit send. And now it's going to send that out and it's going to remove these other holds after a few seconds. It takes some time. So pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's very cool. So a couple things. One is I was looking at my phone
Mhm.
as you sent it out, and it's just as intuitive on your mobile. And then also the real time savings is when I used to do it on Doodle or Calendarly, and Calendarly has a great functionality. I'd send it out, and you would choose whether you wanted to hold times or not. But inevitably, what I would do is I would get the votes on Calendly, then I would go into Office 365 and then create the meeting request and then send the meeting request out. And so
Yeah.
this does it all in one fell swoop, and we're already paying for Microsoft 365, so it's a good solution.
Yeah. Much more intuitive, much smoother. It's pretty cool.
So this is one of the one. If anything else on that,
Nope. That's
all
good.
right. These are some of my. I'm a sort of a Type A Enneagram Type 1
You
process
don't
oriented
say.
person. And I use snoozing and pinning of emails all the time regarding tasks. So I thought we would just show how to snooze an email and why you might do that and how to pin an email.
Sure. So here's my Outlook. I'm sure mine looks a lot different than yours based on what you just said. But here's an email that came
Well,
in.
actually, Reid, not to sorry to interrupt, but what do you mean yours looks exactly the same as mine?
Well, I've got, 62,000
Oh,
on it.
yeah. Yes, that would cause me to lose my hair.
Yeah, yeah. So uh, back to what we're talking about, though. Any email that comes in, I can right click and kind of partway down, you've got snooze. So talk about how you use snooze.
So what will happen is I'm a little bit older, in case you couldn't tell, and I was brought up with email, not Teams or text. So my email inbox is really my actionable items. So Reid the other day sent me a Teams message, and it was an action that I needed to take, and I said I'm happy to take that action if you email it to me. So he emailed it to me, and I knew I couldn't get to it right then. So I right clicked, hit snoozed, and changed the time and day to a day I knew I was going to do it. And then that day it popped back up.
Yep.
And unfortunately, Reid had fallen a little bit further down the priority, and I had to snooze it again. But at any given time, I could just tell you here real quickly, I have 12 snoozed items currently that are just
Yeah.
tasks that I know I need to do. And I just want them to come up a little bit later down the line when I can focus on them. And my inbox is clean. It's not like yours. Now,
So when I,
interestingly enough, yours is like my wife's. That's how
yeah.
she manages things.
So when I snoozed that message, I right clicked and I selected tomorrow, and it moved it to this snoozed folder. So there it is. It's the only one I've got in there. And when that date and time arrives, it's going to move it back to my inbox. So if you operate under inbox zero, like GAR does, where you're going through your tasks, it will move those emails back in when you want to deal with them. So that's as simple as right clicking, snooze, and then picking a time. They've got some suggestions, or you could choose your own. So that's
You,
snoozing.
you were going to show pinning.
Yeah, pinning is the other one. So how do you use pinning for
I
you, for
don't.
your
I don't
workflow?
really use pinning.
Okay. So pinning will take that message and stick it at the top of your list. So however you're scrolling your email, it's always going to be at the top, regardless of when it came in. So now I've got a couple of emails here pinned to the top. Maybe things that are the highest priority that you want to
Yeah, I
make
mean, I
sure
can
they
think
read
of how
them.
I can think of how I will use that in the future. All emails from Reid will be pinned to the top.
Yes, good idea.
All right, so
That,
Reid,
yeah,
we have like three more to get to, so we're clearly not going to get to all those. I do want to get to the last one because it's very important as good IT technologists that we share
sure.
links instead of documents. But Julia asked a question, which I'm not sure we can answer live. I don't know if you know. Is the poll feature only available in Outlook on the web, or is it also available in the desktop? I'm
That
not
is a
sure
good
about that.
That's a good question. I use Outlook on the web most of the time just because Microsoft has added a ton of features and capability, and I like it now, where I was using the old Outlook. I think it probably is. It's probably, in the menu somewhere, because the modern web app or the modern desktop application has a lot of feature parity. So I bet it's there. Yeah.
Well, we'll look it up, and when we send out that email, Caden will put a link to that, whatever we find on if it's included there. Like
Yeah.
Reid, I only use OWA Outlook on the web as well. We're in a modern world, so I
Mhm.
use a browser for everything. So the last thing that we want to get to in 2 minutes or less is how to share links instead of attaching documents.
Yeah, this is huge. So I'm in my new email. I go up to that attach, and instead of browse this computer, select your OneDrive. That's one way, right? There's a couple ways to do this, but when I go into my OneDrive, now I've got all my files, I've got all my stuff. I could pick a file here, Teal Holiday, and share the link. So what it's going to do is it's going to put that link right in my email. And then when I compose a message and send it like maybe to GAR, it's going to automatically set the permissions of that link so GAR can access that link. And if I add somebody else like Don, same thing. He's going to be able to access that file even though it's in my OneDrive. So that's one way if you're in your email and you want to attach something. The other way, if I go back to office.com, I can go back into my apps here. I'm going to find library. We'll find a file. Uh, this is what when we're live. OneDrive. There we go. They keep moving things around. So here's a file. So I've got a file, and I can click that share button, share the item with others. And it's going to pop up this box where I can select who I'm sharing to. I always go into the link settings and make sure that I'm sharing with specific people or people that have existing access. Because a lot of times, if I share with everybody, I'm oversharing, right? Even though I'm sending the link to one person. So people you choose, apply. I can type in a name, Gar, and then copy that link. It copies it to my clipboard. So now I can go back into my email and I can paste that link into my email. Same outcome, just a different way of getting there.
Can you real quick? I mean, we're at 20, so can you show in Teams?
Yeah, sharing a file in Teams.
Yeah.
See if we have a file in here. So here I've got a recordings folder that's in a channel. Here I'm in a channel. Go into files, hit share. Same box. I can type in Gar, check my link settings, only people you choose, apply, copy link. Now I could pop back into my email and paste. Now, why is this link red? Because I only shared it with Gar, but Don doesn't have access to it. So that'll give you a quick, I'm emailing people that don't have access to what I'm sharing. So pretty
High
neat. We
level,
could cover that again.
why do we want to share links instead of attaching the documents?
Oh, if you're attaching documents, now you've got 6 copies of something floating around and you don't have any control over it anymore because you've got copies everywhere. If you're sharing the links, you control the file because you can turn off that link at any time. You can prevent somebody from downloading it, prevent them from editing it. Sharing links is absolutely the way to go.
Fantastic. Reid, we're at 11:22, so we went 2 minutes over. Folks, sorry about that, but we had a lot to get to, and we actually have had 3 more things to get to, so we'll do those next month. Thanks for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Reid or I. Reid, thanks for sharing your knowledge with us, and everyone have a great day.
Have a great day, guys.